really honored to have such a group of top-tier journalists. We really appreciate it. We know it is not easy. It's a long trip, and we are thankful that you are here. So I want to tell you about the 2015 CES because it is the world's most important global gathering place for those focused on the business of innovation. It is the world's largest hands-on showcase of emerging innovation. And it represents the full spectrum of the technology ecosystem. It reflects the magic, the wonder, the excitement, the passion, the joy of consumer technology. And it brings together the leaders from many different industries to transact, do business, see innovation. The automobile industry, the motion picture industry, the music industry, audio, video, home information technology, things that are underground and things that are in the sky, from drones to robots, from 3D printing to healthcare technology. We are expecting between 150,000 and 160,000 people. It is not open to the public. And roughly 1 out of 4 people who attend are from outside the United States. There will be over 3,600 exhibitors in more than 2.2 million net square feet of exhibit space. That is over 200,000 square meters of exhibit space. And this is our largest show in our history. In fact, in probably world history. And we expect that at least 20,000 new products will be launched here in Las Vegas this week. Of course, the global spending on consumer technology is now estimated to be over $1 trillion. That's 1,000 times 1,000 times 1,000. It's 1,000 billion. And a big portion of that is smartphones, which will account for 40% of all global technology spending in 2015. And that's up from 37% in 2014. I learned this week that by one estimate, more people have smartphones in the world than have flush toilets. Across the show floor this year, you'll see major development in product categories that are changing the world, disrupting all business models, giving consumers more power and control, and of course, many of them are creating jobs. You see it in fitness and technology, in health and wellness, and in the Internet of Things. Of course, the Internet of Things, last year we had a separate marketplace or tech zone focused on it.
Lord.
This year, the Internet of Things is so big that we did not give it its own category. Over 900 companies, at least, have products which are connected to each other as part of the Internet of Things. And we have new companies like the world-famous Bosch's, the big retailer Lowe's, Connect Labs, iDevices, Muesli, and Blinkslab. I mentioned car technology. Automobile is huge in terms of the development of technology. In the last 24 hours, I have participated in 3 major automobile company announcements, including Audi, Mercedes, and Ford. We have 10 of the largest automobile companies exhibiting here, which is a record for us. And we have a new company for the first time, Volkswagen, joining many other major companies. And they're focusing on autonomous driving, collision avoidance, the connected car, and vehicle communication. Of course, startups are a very big part of the CES because the CES was created and is run so that anyone with an idea can expose it to important people like you. So we have 375 startups in Eureka Park. Last year I stood at this podium and said there was 220. So we went up from 220 to 375. That's a very healthy growth. And last year, of those 220 companies in Eureka Park, we were able to identify that 25 of them received $50,000 or more in crowdfunding. And then since they were exhibited, we found that we could identify almost $100 million in funding was received by those exhibitors. These are companies which had to be startups. last year, and this year they received almost $100 million in funding. We also identified that exhibiting companies in 2014 were acquired for $16.6 billion US in 2014. I guess if you exhibit at CES, people just throw money at you, or they buy you, or not. In gaming and augmented reality, we have 637 exhibitors versus 511 last year. Last year we had this tiny little company called Oculus VR, and you might have heard that was purchased for $2 billion. We also have, and now it's a major exhibitor, and we have Sulon's Cortex. We have wireless wear and play devices, many other things. Other big categories are wearables, all different portions of the body, unmanned systems, called drones by some people, which is a new area of the show. And of course, we have 4K Ultra HD, which is pervasive throughout the central hall. What's new? There's many new marketplaces. There's a huge new focus on personal privacy, and that is creating business opportunities as people focus on how they can protect themselves. That's some of this is more immediate. It was big news in the United States the last few weeks about Sony and its movie, and the hack that might have been connected to that. But it is something which keeps coming up, the issue of privacy, or as you would say, privacy. And that's a big area. We have 65 exhibitors focused on personal privacy and security. And that's because there are so many different things going on in the cloud. As we shift to the cloud, there are different concerns about privacy and security. The smart home, consumers are creating smarter and more efficient homes. And we have a separate area of the show focused on the smart home. We have 50 companies showing products in that category. Sports technology is a new area of the show. Specific technologies for individual sports like golf, baseball, and tennis. And these devices allow a tremendous amount of information for coaches, for athletes, and others, so they can either throw a basketball better, kick a soccer ball further, learn how they're doing things with golf, baseball, as well as other sports. And including, there's a special focus increasingly on concussion detection devices, sensing devices, which show whether an athlete is hurt from American football or soccer, football, European, other football, given an increasing focus and realization that people's heads are being injured. Another big focus of the show is on streaming content. We discovered that there were literally thousands of studio, Hollywood content, marketing, creation executives coming to Las Vegas for CES, and many advertisers are well represented. So we added a new portion of the show called C-Space. It's at the Aria Hotel. It's a new destination for content, advertising, and entertainment. It has a tailored conference programming, custom exhibits, exclusive receptions, and many other things. And of the 30,000 people who came from the entertainment industry to the CES this year, we have found a home for them. And we have companies like Amazon, Sama, Meredith, Gannett, Adweek, Google, Yahoo, NBC Universal. We have participation from Disney and CBS and others. I did mention earlier the area of the show now we have focus on unmanned aerial vehicles, also called drones. These are products which not only are being used today in remote areas of the world to deliver medicine or diagnostic equipment, but they're being used to search for people, to test for cracks in pipelines, to do surveillance, and also they'll be used potentially in major cities to cut down on congestion as you have building top deliveries rather than using the streets underneath. We have 15 companies showing these products. And in Las Vegas, South Hall, too. Coming back, popular marketplaces include 3D printing, where we've more than doubled the space in exhibitors, with 54 exhibitors and over 18,000 square feet of space. And we have fitness technology. Consumers' interest in wearable fitness devices has quadrupled in just 1 year. Little devices like this, which I just got a very pleasant vibration as I learned that I had walked over 10,000 feet. Probably not beating Allie, but trying. And of course there's gaming. You know, gaming is often very cyclical, but now there's a move towards virtual reality. We expect to see more than that. We have 637 gaming and accessory exhibitors, which is up from 511 last year. And there's health and wellness, and there are wearables. We have many interesting products, from wristbands that replace keys and passwords, to a scanner that allows you to point and shoot your way to create a 3D printing model of virtually any object, to a wearable pain relief device, to a small robotic printer that prints by crawling across paper. And we have many, many speakers. How many of you have attended a keynote session in the last 24 hours? Almost all of you. Good. How many of you attended the Mercedes keynote? Not enough. You saw me come in that car that drove itself. That was beautiful. How about the Samsung keynote? How about the Ford keynote? Good. All interesting and fun. And this afternoon, I hope you go to the Intel keynote. I spoke to the stage manager, and he said to me that it is amazing. Intel has a lot of technology that's new that they'll be displaying. Now, of course, since CES stands for the innovators and the promise and the power of technology, we go around on an annual basis with CES unveiled events. This past year, 2014, we held CES unveiled events in Warsaw, in Paris, and we had many events in Israel and London, New York, Las Vegas, Japan, and we'll be proceeding, of course, in 2015 to continue to expand our footprint. But we also have announced a major new CES itself, just not an unveiled event, but actually a trade show, and that will be in Shanghai in May, CES Asia. And already many major car companies have signed up, including a few auto companies, major brand automobile companies, and companies like IBM, Intel, Gibson, Vox, and so many others have signed up because it's an event which will focus on innovation and brands. And it'll be different than this CES. Of course, it'll be much smaller, and it'll be curated. We will be very careful. You must have a very innovative product or a brand that you're developing in the Asian world. In 2015, though, we will also be having an unveiled event in Tokyo coming up in February 18th. I guess I should mention when our Shanghai event is. It's May 25th through 27th. There'll be about 8,500 net squares of space, and it's already has many. We've already announced the keynoter, Audi AG Chairman Rupert Stadler will deliver a keynote. So I just want to thank you. I hope you can join us for international events. Hope we see you at the Intel keynoter. And of course, I would like to open it up now for your questions because I always look forward to them. And if you ask a question, we will give you a microphone. And if you could identify your name and your country, I would, and even the journalistic media you write for, I'd appreciate it. Would you like some water?
Thank you. My name is Alex Newman. I'm from Panama, from Vida Digital. Are you guys planning on doing a CES unveil type event in Latin America further south? I would recommend Panama.
It is. I am hopeful that in the next few years we do an event in Latin America. It is on my bucket list. I don't know if that translates to go to Panama. So it's definitely not out of the question. So it's possible. I'm not sure it'll happen in 2015. But gracias mucho.
Hi, hello. This is Jack Kwanson from Mail Business newspaper in South Korea. Yeah, I met you, right? Last year. Okay.
Yes, 감사합니다.
Yeah, thank you. And it's very interesting show in CES, especially this year, I think. And I'd like to ask about your viewpoint of the changing industry. What's your viewpoint of the most changing thing in this year rather than last year?
The biggest change from the 2014 CES, in addition to the fact we added about 180,000 square feet of exhibit space and 100 more exhibitors, I think is really the fact that the Internet of Things has become so real that instead of having an area of the show, it's pervasive throughout the show, and it's just a part of products. I think it was Samsung CEO last night who talked about the fact that in a few years all their products will be Internet of Things enabled. And I think that is just a fact that we will be dealing with, and I think the opportunities there are huge, not only for companies with products, but people with ideas, because that Internet of Things will produce a tremendous amount of information. And those that are able to harvest that information and produce useful services or responses with it, entrepreneurs will do very well. I saw a question right in front of you.
Hi, I'm Daniel. I'm from Sydney. I have a YouTube channel, Live Tech Australia. So I was just curious, how does CEA go about actually plucking people for scholarships from like thousands of applications that you guys have? Just curious.
I am going to let the person with the microphone answer that question. This is Allison Freed, by the way, who is one and runs many of our communications programs.
No, the scholarship program is great. We're so happy to have it. And you're right, we get tons and tons of applicants coming in asking for participation in the show. So what we do is we select target countries throughout the world. So we have a list of countries that we want to invite. Every year we try to incorporate 2 or 3 more countries into the mix. And then we look at circulation, reach, past coverage, and kind of do a full comprehensive analysis on the journalists that have submitted applications. We also have a stipulation that 50% of the journalists from each country cannot have attended CS on the scholarship program. So the idea is to get new journalists coming in who haven't experienced the show every year and give them the opportunity to be here in person and cover it.